Okay, now we're going to talk about determinants of 3 by 3 matrices. We're at 13.3c. We've got 6 previous videos that are linked in this description. So determinants have many uses. We said this in the last video. One use is to solve a system of linear equations that contain the same amount of variables as there are equations. So 2 variables and 2 equations, or we could do 3 variables, 3 equations. Now, if you're confused about determinants, you need to see video 13.3a, and that's an intro to determinants and explains how to find them. All right? So the determinant of a 3 by 3 matrix is found by this method. So we know it's a 3 by 3 because it's got 3 rows and it's got 3 columns. So it's a 3 by 3, okay? We have our subscript numbers here showing that this is the first equation, that's the second equation, that's the third equation, okay? So we take a sub 1, this very first one right up here, and we multiply it by the b sub 2 and the c sub 2, and the b sub 3 and the c sub 3 that are going to be cross-multiplied, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to cross-multiply this, subtract those two products, and then multiply it to that a sub 1. We're going to do the same thing for a sub 2. We're going to cross-multiply these two products, get these two products, and then subtract, and then multiply it by a sub 2. And we're going to subtract this one from this one, and then we're going to add these cross products subtracted to get an amount, to get a difference, multiplied to this one, and we're going to add it to what we got there. So it ends up looking like this. Look at all the colors. All right? So we're going to do this with some actual numbers, all right? Now, how did I get these 2 by 2s? Well, it's really kind of easy. We can get the 2 by 2 determinants by crossing out the corresponding row and column. So for a sub 1, this a sub 1, see? We crossed out all the a's and all the 1's. So for a sub 1, there's no a allowed and no 1 allowed. So that got crossed out, and we got left with these. See? Same thing. For the a sub 2, there's no a's allowed and there's no 2's allowed. So it looks like it's crossed out like a T. See that? And that's how we got these. See? Same thing. For the a sub 3, there's no a's allowed and there's no 3's allowed. See? So we ended up with these. See? So that's how I got those 2 by 2s. All right? So we can evaluate a 3 by 3 matrix. Here's our 3 by 3 matrix. We're going to take this first value right here, this -1, that's the a sub 1, and we're going to take these two and these two, and we're going to cross multiply. So we got a 1 times a 1 minus an 8 times a -1. That's going to give us 1 minus -8, which means 1 plus 8, doesn't it? Now we've got this -5 that we need to multiply to this. We need to find the determinant, so we do 0 times 1 and 8 times 1. We subtract and get 0 minus 8. We're going to multiply that to that -5. And then for this 4, we're going to do 0 times the -1, and we need to subtract that from 1 minus, or 1 times 1, which is a 1. See? So this is what we get. Now remember, when you subtract a negative, you add the opposite. So this is going to be a plus here. So now we've got -1 times 9 plus 5 times a -8 plus 4 times a -1. That gives us -9 plus -40 plus -4, which gives us a -53. See? All right, let's try another one, okay? Here's our 3 by 3 matrix. And we're going to start with this -3 up here. We're going to multiply this -6 to the -3. We're going to get an 18, and the 0 to the 1, we're going to get a 0. We subtract them and get 18. Then we're going to do 3 times -3, which is a -9, and 0 times 0, which is 0. That's going to give us a -9. Then we do the 3 times 1 and the -6 times 0. That gives us a 3 minus 0. So now this is what we have. This is going to give us a -54, and it's minus a -9, so we're going to add a 9, aren't we? And then we've got the -3. So if we're going to add a -3, we're just taking away a 3. That's going to give us a -48. Now, if you've ever done a system of 3 equations and tried to solve a system of 3 equations, This is a lot easier and a lot quicker than going back and forth with elimination and substitution to find out what x, y, and z are. This is much easier. You could do a lot of them. You could do a system with lots of equations much quicker than you could doing it with the variables in it the old way that we learned in Algebra 1. See? All right, so our next video, 13.3D, is about Kramer's rule for the system of 3 equations. So I'll show you Kramer's rule. We did it for 2 equations, now I'll show you 3 equations. There's going to be a link to those 6 previous videos for Chapter 13 in the description. I'm going to add this one to the Algebra 2 playlist. And we're almost done with Algebra 2. It's so exciting. I'll see you next video. Keep up the good work. Bye.